Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. Round of 16 is coming to a close as we end Group D. What a rowdy bunch we have this evening. It's good. We like that a lot. We're back with Hasselhoff. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Oh, it's very loud, actually. It's very hard to hear you.
Crazy. They've gone absolutely crazy.
Looks like it. PvP is very exciting, it seems.
Oh, is that what you're going to claim that?
Oh, they're looking for the
claiming?
TvT.
Oh, okay. I like that. All right. So, yeah, very exciting PvP.
Yeah, it was crazy.
A great game, too, as well.
Second and third map have been extremely nice to watch for a PvP, yeah.
Yeah, definitely for a Protoss as well. You must have really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
really
I was enjoying it a lot, yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on. Let's just show you where we are in Group D right now in terms of the bracket. MC, Season 1 champion, goes down to the lower bracket, having lost to the Season 2 champion here in Europe. Stardust moving on, one place away from making another round of 8 appearance. Dayshi now takes on ForGG. It's teammate versus teammate and Terran versus Terran. It's our symmetrical Group D.
Indeed, yeah, and Dayshi is he's going to have a really hard time. When we did our preparation, there were two things we found out. First of all, he's 0-18 against ForGG.
Yes.
And during the preparation, he was sitting next to us, and he told me, eventually, I have to win a best of 3, right? And he told me, I'm going to take one map because I have a very good build prepared. Okay,
all right. I mean, we've been speaking to Dayshi. Let's talk about him first. It's kind of unfortunate. The last time he made the round of 16, he also had a very tough group back then as well. Again, has definitely got the hardest of the 4 groups in this round of 16. I mean, 428 record head-to-head in this group against the other 3 players suggests strongly to me that he's got no chance of getting out of this group. But in a weird kind of way, Dennis, that actually is quite good for him because he can actually be chilled. He can relax. He doesn't have any expectations on him. There's no pressure. And actually, I think there's a little bit of pressure on the other players to beat him because they're expected to beat him.
Could be, definitely, because it's such an important tournament. They definitely expect to beat him. Yeah. It's not like in any other tournament where you play for a few €100 maybe. You think like, okay, it's Dayshi, I'm going to beat him anyways. But in WCS, you have to beat him if you want to advance.
And you've been in this situation, I know, from all the years of EPS games that you've had. And in Germany, EPS is obviously a big deal. And you've played players that, on paper, people go, oh, Hasselhoff will easily beat that player. And do you feel that pressure then? Do you like, oh, God, please don't make it harder for me?
I think there are some players you just have the number. It always works out against them, no matter what build you go for, no matter what they try. You're always ahead, and at some point, they have a mental block against you. They just can't beat you anymore. And I don't know if Dayshi is at that point, but 0-18 is pretty hard already.
It's pretty rough, isn't it?
And they were living together in a team house for a while, and I know that Dayshi learned a lot from ForGG, so maybe it's just extremely hard for him to beat him. Just even taking a map seems to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, I think he might do that tonight. ForGG, on the other hand, I mean, he's been #1 on Aligulac all season long, all year long in TvT. His TvT is world class. There is absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just remembered when Bunny was joining one of his very first WCS seasons, he got into a group with ForGG, and they had some epic PvPs, but ForGG was always one step ahead. And his TvT, I think, that's something you learn in Korea. Like all the Terrans there, they have such good TvT, and they know exactly how to play it. And he was a good Brood War player as well. And I mean, the matchup is not 100% similar, but you can definitely get the same idea of it.
71% rounded up right now is his all-time TvT win rate, which is just extraordinary. He's also one of only a handful of players, of course, to make the Premier League every season. Has done that for the last, well, for all 6 seasons. Been in the round of 4 twice as well. Last season, it was the second time he'd done it. So he knows how to win these round of 16s. He knows how to get through, and that's going to help him tonight.
I would say in TvT, of course, but I have to say against the other 2 Korean Protosses, he will have a very hard time because ForGG usually is very predictable. And I know that MC and Stardust, they do their homework, and they have some very, very nasty Protoss builds as well. They know their tricks, and especially MC is like super aggressive against Terrans. And I think if ForGG doesn't change it up at all, he might have a very hard time against the Protosses.
Okay. Interesting. Dayshi's ruled out Overgrowth. King Sejong and Foxtrot gone from 4GG. So let's see where the Frenchman goes for the final one. Catalina, maybe?
Could be anything, though. As I mentioned, I mean,
Yeah,
Dayshi
it
said
doesn't
he
really
has a specific build prepared, so maybe that's why he vetoed out Overgrowth, because it's a very straight-up map. Everyone played it a few thousand times.
I mean, he has to do whatever he needs to do here. He has to try and catch 4GG out, doesn't he? He's got to throw him something that's a bit random.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And so Catalina, Deadwing, and Nimbus, that's all the maps that have more than one scouting position.
Yep. And
none of the 2-player maps.
And the 3 least played maps in the entire pool.
So we will see a lot of gas
Yes,
first, I believe.
I guess we will.
A lot of gas first, and I said that earlier jokingly, the Terrans try to Protoss each other right now, like staying on one base, opening up with gas first, trying to do a lot of damage early on. And I could see that happening on these maps. I mean,
Catalina first, Nimbus second. So we're going to get a bit of a mix-up in this game, which is
nice.
It's nice. Yeah, I was going to say we haven't. It's nice to see a good range of the pool being played, and we saw a little bit of that in GSL this morning as well. Maps that you don't always see because obviously they're playing best of 7. So you have to actually see all the maps because it went to 4-3. Spoiler alert, sorry. But I like seeing the other maps. I want to see them played more regularly. I want to see them played more often. So we've got a good opportunity in this one. Do you think it hands anything to Dayshi? I mean, I know I'm clutching at straws a little bit for him, but he's a very good player. Make no bones about that. But these 3 players in this division for him in this group, they are world class. So he's got to raise his game this evening.
He can be world class as well. No question about it. We saw some extremely impressive performances. I think it was at Home Story Cup where he played very, very strong. 4. I think WCG had some decent results against I think he beat one of the Koreans.
Yes,
as far as
into
I
the quarterfinals.
Yeah, he was in the quarterfinals. And he definitely has a shot, but as you mentioned, it's going to be very hard.
Okay. What are you going for? Are you going to stick with the safe bet?
Yeah, I have to go with ForGG. I mean,
after all that, Dennis built him up. He built the European up. He tried to stand as his brother in arms, but when it came to going over the top, it all came down to the Korean. 4GG is the heavy favourite in this matchup, possibly even in the group. Let's find out whether that proves to be true with your commentary team of Kalaris and Apollo.
Thanks, guys. From one mirror matchup to another, we now have TvT on the cards. And whilst our PvP was very, very flourishing, very well-rounded, very fantastic from one side or another, one of our players here has a lot to prove.
Yeah, he's got a lot to prove, and he's got a lot to do here in this series. But I actually believe in him to take at least a map from 4GG today, being Dayshi, of course, the player to do that. 4 map wins to 28 map losses versus all the players in the group. And obviously the one that stands out, the 0 map wins versus 4GG to 18 of 4GG's. Incredible record between them. But I believe in Dayshi to get a single map here.
All right.
I don't know if he'll be able to take him out because 4GG, as they've said, is one of the best in the business when it comes to Terran versus Terran.
Yeah, and those the win-loss at the bottom obviously reflects in series, so it's across 18 maps that he hasn't been able to win overall.
It's very depressing. It's like 0-2, 0-3, 0-3, 0-3, 0-3, 0-2, 0-2.
Yeah.
So it's like, God, he can't even get a single game.
And then he tweets him this morning saying, ready for 20-0, mate, or something. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, Dayshi's got an uphill battle here, but I believe in him to do so. The thing is, despite not being able to beat him in a competitive environment, he's able to go toe-to-toe, and they actually trade 50-50 on the ladder. So it's not like he cannot physically beat this guy ever, because he has done it before online. So hopefully he can do it today, but this is a massive milestone, just a single map here. And of course, they have played once in WCS before in the round of 32 last season. Yeah. Where 4GG did get that massive result once again, the semi-final finish. And again, Dayshi did lose 0-2. Yeah. But I believe, I'm a believer.
Well, the 81%, it reflects on 13 wins and 3 losses in this matchup. And the only 3 people he lost to were so long ago, really. I mean, in WCS alone, it was MVP back, way back at the very beginning in 2013. Yep. And then MMA in Bucharest in 2013. And then actually Yoda recently, more recently, I should say, at DreamHack Valencia. Aside from that, he hangs with the best of them in TvT. We even dubbed him 4GG Mageddon at the very beginning because of how strong he was in this matchup. He was actually breaking numbers.
Here we go, boys. Here we go. Europe fighting. Can Dayshi somehow escape today's group of death here in Group D? I don't know.
We'll find out. Spawning up to the north position, it's our red Terran representing Team Millennium. It is ForGG. A killer. And down to the bottom right, we have our blue Terran representing also Millennium. It's Dayshi.
All right. So, aggression is Terran versus Terran. It's all about the gas first builds. You can try to play the Defender, whether it be a Reaper expansion or a 15 gas expansion, but the most common and the most success comes from gas first builds here. So that is probably going to be the go-to build overall. We may see a couple of differences come out from both sides, but should be the go-to build for both. And those cause crazy games. Dayshi, though, has decided against that to start with, whereas ForGG has chosen that. Daishi's going for the 12 barracks here. Does he add a 12 gas shortly after? And that would tell us Reaper expansion, which is a little bit cheeky, but it is going to be the case. He is going to go for it. So on this map, it can work, though, because there's a lot of ground space inside the main. So you can actually jump in from multiple different areas. You can find out what you're playing against, and maybe you can get an SCV or two if you're lucky. But he will know what he's playing against, and it's going to become a very simple game for the first 8 minutes or so. Can Dayshi defend ForGG's aggression?
Yeah, but he's very, very good at executing this aggression. That's the important thing. ForGG is one of the best in the business when it comes to this gas-first opener, and has, you know, quite a few tools available to him when putting on that aggression against Dayshi here.
Dayshi, though, as a player for me, has shown so many good games. Not massive results per se, apart from Home Story Cup where he got that top 4 finish. But let's just, for example's sake, use the Golden game from the round of 32 when he played against Golden. Yes, he lost the series, but he played amazingly.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
So Dayshi definitely is one of the best up-and-comers in the European scene as a Terran player. Not quite on the bunny level, but has time to time shown excellent games. So I really think that he's got it within him to put up a surprise today in this group.
And to reinforce that point, I mean, Paul was mentioning earlier that ForGG is one of the only people that was 6 times in the Premier League, but Dayshi's been here 5 times. There was only one season where he was only was able to advance to Challenger. Every single other time, he's been in the round of 32 and the round of 16. So if he was able to get past this round of 8, which would be mind-blowing for a lot of people, that would be massive for Dayshi.
Yeah, he almost made the round of 8 before, narrowly losing to Jackji, actually, funny enough, another Terran versus Terran. Almost made it, but has, of course, never been to the round of 8 before. But he jumps in, and this is the part of the game which we explained a couple of minutes ago. He knows what he's playing against. He gets very unlucky from stopping that factory from being built, but he's already got 1 SCV to his name. He knows what he's playing against, and now it comes down to how well his defense is going to be. Every SCV kill, by the way, is massive. Of course, slowing ForGG down.
Getting 1 at least is a nice start. Marines are out, though, so should be able to poke away at that to make sure it doesn't do too much more.
Well, there is an SCV that has only got 2 hits before it dies if he wants to go back in there, but he is going to pull back. I'm surprised he pulled back because I thought he would have liked to maybe try to see if the second gas was going to be built or not. But he is out for now. Bunker on the way, tightly against the command center, not too far forward. It's in a decent position to protect and also evacuate to jump in the main base if need be.
Yeah, definitely. And whilst all of this is going on with Dayshi's command center finished up and good to go, ForGG now with his aggressive opener itself has to do a little bit of damage to kind of catch up in that because there is going to be double SCVs on the way.
The really confusing thing is for a non-Terran player, you say this and goes, okay, there's one guy on 2 base and the other's on 1. Surely he needs to do massive amounts of damage, but to be honest, you only need 2 or 3 SCVs, and you're actually sometimes in the lead if you're able to keep the pressure on and force SCVs to come off. So, I mean, the ultimate thing here, though, if Dayshi takes no damage, he is absolutely going to enter the mid-game at an advantageous position.
Loses his Reaper, though, to these first Hellions that are now going to move across. And the medevac is on the way as well, and this adds an extra little bit. Oh, but he sees it leaving the base.
Yeah, he doesn't know if it's what's in the medevac, but he can take a stab that the Hellions are on the ground and the medevac's in the air.
Yeah.
But right now, I think he may be able to defend this, to be honest. It depends on the positioning, but I think he's set to defend this.
Well, he's got himself Medevac on the way himself. He has almost exactly the same unit composition, basically, so there is an opportunity.
Okay, so ForGG's going to go for the front door here. Dayshi does not know that, but he's going to have to repair his bunker. He's got to be fast on repairing that bunker.
Yeah, he unloads before he even gets there, so that bunker's going to fall pretty fast, but he gets the instant spot and decides to pull out. With only one Marine in there, he could have done some damage, but it's a little bit of foolery, a little bit of trickery, because you don't know how many are in there.
6 Hellions is better than everything ForGG's got there. He loses 2 Marines, and Dayshi is kind of sneaked out here with this Medivac.
That was very ambitious there by ForGG to try and start dropping on top of those. And
the curse is real.
No.
The curse is real.
Well, those Marines.
The curse is 100% real as Dayshi leaves his base with everything and ForGG walks into the mineral line, and you can't take this amount of damage. He's going to lose every single SCV here.
They're lining up very nicely there. So a little bit of a split to try and keep these alive, but he needs even to land the Viking here during all of this because he's losing so much.
I believe in you, Dayshi.
You may believe, but it might not be well-rounded. I mean, right now, he's trying to scramble for this defense. 10 workers gone down, 12 workers gone down. And that's a big, big blow to him.
Yeah, and remember that if we haven't actually looked properly at what ForGG's follow-up here, he's not looking to play this game long.
No.
He got double tech labs on the factory and starport, and he's actually just going to go for a push. He's got air dominance with the Vikings now. He's got tanks. He's got a Medivac still. And he's simply going to walk to the natural of his opponent and start to siege it up. And if Dayshi can't mine properly from his natural, then what's the point of a second base here?
Exactly. And what's really cool about this for ForGG is that, yes, of course, he did kill 12 workers. That's fine. That's nice. But also, another 12 units have been killed by ForGG as well, so it's reduced his army quite considerably.
But Dayshi spotted what was happening. He knows that there's no command center. He knows that there's double tech labs on that starport and factory, so he's already switched up to build tanks of his own. He's got a turret and a Viking for himself, but he needs to build a tank. You cannot defend this without a tank. It is the most important part. He doesn't have enough gas right now. He needs to start the tank. He has to buy time now with his bunker on the natural, so he's got to have Marines in, he's got to repair it. He will take losses. I mean, okay, ForGG's not even going to go for the front here. He's just going to drop inside the main base.
And it's so out of vision. I mean, the Vikings might even just be in range there, but yeah.
So there's hardly no time to buy here because it's already happening.
Yeah, it's right on his doorstep. And those Vikings are not only going to control the sky, but they're going to give him great vision here.
I mean, he's hunted down the last Viking. He can just sit on top of the starport here.
Yeah, this is very, very difficult.
Dayshi cannot take air control. There's bunkers being built. The factory will go down next. And unfortunately, Dayshi is looking at a loss.
Brilliant follow-up by ForGG here. Ever the aggressor, moving forwards, killing off the barracks, reducing any kind of production. Very, very soon, that falls.
Yeah, look at the Banshee. That's an awesome move. Just to come in, take off the Marines, and then take the tank down.
And there's one Marine. That's it, really. That missile turret somehow, someway has to scramble to the defense of a siege tank here whilst all of this is going on. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
The thing is ForGG can keep edging forward, remember, because the 3 Vikings are controlling the sky.
Yeah, so he has that little bit extra vision. He had to land his Viking as soon as it pops against all of this. And technically, he will have to repair his infrastructure eventually.
Yes, the turret up, though.
That's a nice addition. Getting that up is very, very strong. But he's still shelling away at this infrastructure. He needs to fly away and get out of there.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. That was quite a nice trade, getting the Banshee, really solving a little bit of the problem, but he had to sacrifice the Viking for it.
Yeah, but there's another 2 tanks, another 10 Marines, another Banshee.
It's just too much army supply.
Dayshi's holding on. He's definitely holding on. He's got a massive income lead, obviously, big Vs.
But how does he spend it?
How does he stop this attack from happening here? That's the massive problem he's facing.
51 army supply to 21 now.
The starport's going to go down, so he's got to rebuild that.
Yeah. This is getting worse and worse, unfortunately.
It's going to be saved, but the edge forward here.
And here we go. He's actually just going to go straight in for the kill. I mean, that's a bit ambitious considering there were 2 siege tanks sieged up, but again, he's so far up in terms of army supply. He has so much firepower available to him. ForGG knows this matchup to a T. GG, game number 1 goes to the Korean.
Just a great game, perfectly executed from ForGG. Assisted by Dayshi, though. The way that Dayshi was trying to move out, Dayshi was in the mindset of where, okay, I've got this defended, now I can counter.
Yep.
But it was never properly defended because it never had actually stopped. And as soon as he tried to move out, he was caught out of position. He allowed the Hellions to get into the main base. He lost all those SCVs. He got put on the back foot. And then the follow-up came in. And you can see just by the shake of the head that he knows he could have done better.
And this was prime example of the volatility that we see in this matchup from time to time. Unfortunately, Dayshi was true victim of that in game number 1. ForGG, though, I mean, he's some kind of oracle. He's some kind of interpreter of TvT who somehow knows exactly what to do at every angle.
But that is one of the most frustrating games to lose as a Terran player because you're like, oh, he's on one base. All I've got to do is just defend it and I'm going to be in a good position. But he was never really able to get into that position where he could hold a certain line or be able to start to edge it back. If the tank was out faster, if he hadn't lost 2 Vikings immediately, if he hadn't have allowed 12 or 14 SCVs to be killed, there's just so many if I hadn't have allowed this. There was about 4 or 5 episodes of that in just that single game.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they're such small things, which makes the whole game frustrating.
Yeah, and again, the numbers are probably weighing a little bit heavy on the guy right now.
Yeah.
Because of how much, and that's 19-0 now.
Yeah.
19-0 in favor of ForGG, who, again, he kind of makes it look pretty easy for himself. He doesn't break a sweat. He just goes into these games and powers along with the aggression and makes it very, very difficult to stop.
Well, what next is, you know, the big question here for Dayshi. Does he attempt the same style? Does he want to try to go for a Reaper expansion, play defensive, hope to hold on, and then find himself in a good position? Does he want to take the fight to ForGG and go gas first himself and try to be aggressive and try to, you know, fight fire with fire against ForGG? Because we know ForGG likes his style. It's actually been his style from Brood War days. I mean, he was always the harassment Terran, the aggressive Terran, who would gain a lead and then just kill you that easily. So he's got to be very, very careful with what he chooses in this next map.
All right, game number 2 then. Let's see if our French Terran can bring it back here. As we have, well, spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it is his opponent. Currently 1 game up in the red. It is Millennium's ForGG. And up to the top left-hand corner, our French player in this group, representing Millennium as well. It is Dayshi.
Very hopeful for him to be able to do this, as ForGG teasing the stats here. Once again, incoming 20-0.
He knows it as well as we do.
Yes, he does. Dayshi can't seem to beat this guy in a tournament. I believe in you, mate. I believe in you.
If there's any mind games that need to be done, I mean, ForGG knows how to do them when it comes to against Dayshi.
And to be honest, I mean, I can imagine being ForGG and just saying, I will never let you take a map from me. This is impressive, man. I'm going to make this 30-0, 40-0.
I'm going to ride this to the
I'm going to go
end.
down in history for having the biggest head-to-head win ratio against another player. And it is very impressive, of course. And you can imagine that one. It's like, imagine it like this. You're playing your friend on a simple game, whether it be StarCraft, whether it be Smash Brothers, whether it be Street Fighter, and he can't beat you.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you want to play? Yeah, I can play with you, fine. And then he gets better and better, and you're like, oh my God, he's going to beat me. No way am I going to let him beat me. And then when he does beat you, even though it's like 150,
yeah,
he's like, ha, I finally got you. And it's painful because you're like, I'm 20-0 versus you.
What happened?
So as much as Dayshi wants to break this kind of curse, I'm sure ForGG obviously wants to maintain it.
We've all had those moments in our lives, especially if you've got like brothers, for example. That's how it's happened from time to time.
Yeah.
And in essence, I mean, these are 2 Terran brothers from the same team, right?
Yeah.
So fighting against one another, it's quite the thing, quite the thing.
Dayshi's decided to go for take 2. This is build order take 2. Which means he's going to just try the same again and hopefully can make this work. Of course, there is the easier expansion to take here, which means you can wall off. You don't need to have a bunker. You don't need to worry about run-bys. You can actually just wall off with a barracks and supply depot and then just really focus on the drop point, which is going to be the back here. Unfortunately for Dayshi, this is a 4-player spawning map, so you can spawn anywhere. And ForGG's landed to the top right, which is a direct line to the second base of Dayshi, which means any attack and any drop's going to be fast. 1 boost and you're almost there anyway.
Yeah. And
he will spot this in a second. Well,
ooh.
As in, Dayshi sneaks around here. SCV, anyone? SCV?
What?
Sees gas first again. Sees double gas as well immediately. So he knows it's like a Cloak Banshee, Banshee Widowmine.
Nice.
Oh, he slows the starport down. That's nice.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, that's going to die if he's not careful. If he splits these Marines well, going back to the mineral line is difficult to get out.
Dayshi's supply block there actually made a bit of a mistake. He missed his supply depot. It should have been squeezed in a little bit earlier there. As you can see, you actually can't build 2 Marines now, which he'd like to be doing. So that's a slight mistake there from Dayshi.
I mean, but is ForGG even going to change things up? I think he's just going to go full aggression again.
Yeah, he may do the same.
He's got his double gases whirring away. He's going to
He might go straight to Banshee this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going straight to Banshee. He started to pull in much more gas much earlier on. And there already should have been 2 Marines pushing this back.
Yeah, exactly.
So that supply depot...
he's going to get that SCV.
Is quite annoying here.
Yeah, that slows him down quite a bit.
And he's, I mean...
ForGG is basically being like, well, I mean, I know that you've made a mistake coming in here. I'm a Terran. I know that you should have had some Marines out at this point. So capitalize, and they line up the Marines there.
Yeah.
Another Hellions on the way. This could spiral out of control.
This game may just end. There's 2 Hellions, there's a second Hellion, and 3 Marines coming in. He's got to be very careful here.
He's trying to get an SCV up there.
And then the Banshee follow-up, and then there's going to be... It's going to be an expansion from ForGG, but the Banshees are going to come in a couple of seconds.
Trying to get what damage done he can.
Great micro from ForGG.
Micro on both sides in the end as Dayshi's trying to clean it up, and the Hellion should be able to do what it needs to.
Yeah, but he's lost so many Marines there that would have assisted in the defense.
And, I mean, he's trying to crank out a Viking now, but eventually Cloak will be on the way, and a second Banshee will be out as well. If he kept working on the Marine numbers, like, that could be nice as well.
He's going to take the natural. If 4GG just goes north now, he actually takes the natural. That turret cannot finish. But he's going straight for the production facilities here. Oh, he's going to catch that turret instead.
Ooh.
And 2 Marines there, easily going to be picked off.
Yeah, work on the numbers, man. Why not?
Oh, he can camp. He does not want to let that turret go down. He's got to try and keep it alive.
Yeah.
Looks like he will get it up.
And even that Viking really helping out. Cloak's about to finish, though. It's about a few seconds off, and he could technically turn around with that, but risk a scan going down. Only a few shots right on top of that would help.
So, I mean, we talked about it a bit before. When you go for an expansion, all you need to do is kill just a couple of SCVs. There's 4 SCVs been killed, and there's already a 5 SCV lead. There's a 20 pretty much supply lead overall because of all the Marines that were lost. And just by a couple of kills here, 4GG is in prime position. His second base is finished. It will be a command center, orbital command, sorry, in a second. And he's still got the capability to kill more SCVs because he still has a Banshee alive.
Yeah, and a second one, I think, is it already out? Is it on the way? I mean, it's okay, so it's poking around, that's for sure. The other one is actually being repaired back at home.
Not a mule.
Oh, a fresh mule as well. That just landed.
Oh, Dayshi.
Big blow, big blow.
Yeah. And, you know, there's tanks out already for both, well, there are for both players. But we are going to see a drop shortly, I think, from 4GG. He's just switched his starport over. And I can imagine that it'll be double medivac from that, and he could even drop the natural here. There is a dead space where the natural, the turret natural for Dayshi cannot reach anything towards the top right there, so that would be a very sweet spot for a couple of tanks and Marines, supported by Banshees to drop.
I mean, fresh mules like that did die. I mean, it's one of the big advantages of having a second command center that quickly, because you have a little bit more energy on the second orbital command, but having that go down, it's a bit annoying. Dayshi, though, has been macroing up okay. His army supply now 21 against 18, so looking to pressure in the middle.
Well, Dayshi gets a free Viking here, and he's also not quite going to get that Banshee, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, he does get it, so
nice
Viking and a Banshee there. That's like the first proper victory in this series for him. That was a nice pick-off.
Yeah, not too bad. 4GG is going to have to go home because dealing with that kind of army at this point with his measly force isn't going to do too well.
And a decent Viking count here from Dayshi, and he's in a pretty decent spot here. 3 tanks and 3 Vikings versus just a single tank right now for 4GG. There is an opportunity for him to break through here. Obviously, if Stim completes and Medivacs enter the game shortly, it's going to make a big difference. Throughout all of this, you know the way that Dayshi has 3 Vikings and has 3 tanks, he doesn't have Stim and he doesn't have Medivacs and he doesn't have this and that, but he does have a force that might be able to break this.
His extra production was slower in the end, right? So 5 Marines on the way at any time against the 2 Marines any time because the barracks have only just finished up here for Dayshi. It's kind of important against all of this.
Nice push, nice scan though. Very nice counter scan from 4GG.
Yep, Viking's going to try and shoot this away. And ooh, a little bit of extra damage happened.
You look at that beautiful counter scan. Dayshi was trying to get in position, and then 4GG just scans and eliminates the tank that was trying to get there. And that's buying enough time for Stim and Medivacs, which is where 4GG is going to get back into the driving seat a little bit more in this game.
Yeah, Dayshi doesn't want to be sitting around for too long, that's for sure. As, well, he's looking for a little bit of an alternate route for sort of harassment with landing some Vikings. So at least denying some mining time is a really nice start for here. A few SCVs as well. He's actually evening up the worker loss count, but he's losing all of his Vikings in the process. Was that really worth the few SCVs?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No. And here comes a big drop. I mean, 2 Medivacs full of Marines with Stim. There are this could, I don't want to say it really, but it could kill him. There are just a handful of Marines. There are 3 tanks. He's going to take a lot of SCV damage for sure. And of course, ForGG can always pull off. And there's the sweet spot outside the turret range. And this is nasty. This is...
Yep, denying a lot of mining time. And if he needs to, he can get out faster than the Vikings could have retreated back on the other alternate offensive. As he's just going to sit around here, do a little bit of damage, get out. I mean, he's denied quite a bit.
He's going to wait for the tanks to siege up, then just get out.
Yeah.
And decent damage there. The tanks definitely saved Dayshi for the more important part of the damage to be dealt. But there's going to be another drop here. Oh, Dayshi moves out. ForGG's about to move in again. And he might get in there before that turret even completes. Oh, boy.
Oh, and he's bringing tanks this time, so he can solidify this position quite considerably. His army supply in general, 59 against 49, but this isn't the full extent of ForGG's army in it. He's actually just going to chase into these tanks.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, maybe not. He lost quite a few of those Marines. Wants to try and get out of here, maybe, because that's a lot of army that Dayshi is bringing to the table. But the two siege tanks actually traded away against a lot of Marines there.
Yeah, he clears it up. He loses a lot of SCVs in that, but he doesn't... I mean, he doesn't die. He's still got quite a few SCVs still around. Did lose a lot. Managed to deal with it okay. But as you can see, Dayshi's still 20 supply behind because of that drop. Right now, ForGG doesn't have a massive army, but he's rebuilding up nicely. There's more pressure continuing on.
Never stops, never stops. As you said, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from that location straight over.
That was nasty. Yeah. 6 SCVs got gunned down immediately there.
It never stops. As you said, 23 workers have already been killed from ForGG, and he's just reeling it in because behind this, he's got a 3rd command center on the way, in location, able to just continue on with his macro.
And his ForGG's going to do it again here. This becomes a little bit weird here, unfortunately, for Dayshi, because yes, this drop will happen and it will be successful for ForGG, but Dayshi doesn't have that many units here.
Because they're all on the other side of the map trying to do something else with a kind of weird base trade scenario. One of the medevacs actually had some of the units in and did die off quickly, but there's only 1 siege tank sieged up to really deal with this.
There's not enough for Dayshi to make his drop work.
No. The natural has been breached. He's going to lose so much here. And on the other side, as you say, that many units with the reinforcements being churned out here for ForGG, these reinforcements should be able to hold. I mean, it's these 3 siege tanks which are going to deal with it, but as long as he pulls some SCVs, he knows he's doing massive amounts on the other side.
And just like that, unfortunately, Dayshi's not going to be able to take a map away from ForGG, and he's looking at a 20-0 here. And ForGG just continues his dominance in this matchup. He's continuing his dominance versus Dayshi. 50 supply to 100. Dayshi's been cleaned up on the other side of the map. He's got 1 single tank left. Oh my God, says Dayshi, because he knows 20-0.
Fine.
GG, congratulations is called. And the game ends just like that. ForGG makes it to the winners match.
GG indeed. ForGG doesn't break a sweat. That's what he does in TvT. Unfortunately for Dayshi, he will now fall down to the lower bracket game to play against MC.
He must play against MC to stay alive in this tournament, in this group. But it is ForGG who takes a shot at the winners match, has a shot at the reigning champion as well, where he will face off against Stardust there. But unfortunately for Dayshi, the losing streak extends.
Yeah, not the best of times, not the best of starts here for him in this group. But again, we always knew it was going to be a tough group. We always knew his first opponent was going to be a struggle. And unfortunately, falls to 0 here. ForGG looking to move on to play against Stardust. That's going to be a pretty cool clash there.
That's going to be a great series.
Yeah. But we will be having Dayshi versus MC next to find out who unfortunately falls out of Group D.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, at the end of the day, was Dayshi even thinking about being able to beat ForGG? I just think he really wanted a single map here, and I think a lot of his focus would have been against the Protoss players for today.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult because MC and Stardust are like the top 2 Protoss players. I mean, top 3 along with San that we have in the Premier League, and it's going to be difficult. Obviously, MC or Stardust, depending on who he would have played, are both champions of the Premier League. But, you know, Dayshi's always had some tricks up his sleeves, and I think he's just going to go all out for it now after this.
Yeah, I think so as well. He's got nothing to lose at this point. So without further ado, guys, let's head over for an interview with our winner. It's ForGG.
20-0. You said to him on Twitter this morning it's going to be 20-0, and it was. Why are you so horrible to Dayshi?
왜 이렇게 대시를 못 사귀거든요?
제가 원래 좀 같은 팀원한테는 라이벌 의식 같은 게 좀 세가지고 같은 팀한테 좀 더 오기가 발생되는 것 같아요.
I think I'm really rough with my teammates. I always think of my teammates as rivals, so that's why.
All right, fair enough. I think we can let you off that one. We know how good you are at TvT, but you've now got to play Stardust. He's the current European champion. How is your TvP recently? How good do you feel about it?
지금 스타더스트가 챔피언인데 TVP가 지금 어떤지 영어로 대답하실래요? 네.
일단 굉장히 잘 만났다고 생각해요. WCS 시즌 2 때 제가 사실 4강전을 준비를 거의 못 해가지고 거의 그냥 지다시피 했는데 이번에는 조가 알다시피 민철이랑 손석희랑 있어서 제가 토스전만 95% 정도로 연습했거든요. 재미있을 것 같아요.
I'm really happy actually to meet Stardust now in my group because last season I couldn't really practice and I didn't really prepare for that match against him. And this time I had MC and Stardust in my group and I practiced like 95% of my practice went into TvP. So I'm really happy to face him now.
All right, well, best of luck against Stardust, and your teammate has to go up against MC. Are you gonna help out Dayshi a little bit and give him some words of advice against MC?
이제 MC 상대로 제시가 하는데 팀메이트로서 좀 도와줄 의향이 있는지.
네, 안 그래도 제가 알고 있는 팁 같은 거를 경기 전에 알려줄 생각이에요.
Yes, I will actually give him some tips about my Bulldoggers that I know.
Okay, well, very best of luck, and hopefully you get 2 Millennium players through, but it's looking a bit hard on right now. ForGG is through to the winners' game. He'll face Stardust. That's coming up a little later on. But next up, it is MC once again in action against Dayshi. Can he come back and redeem himself from game one? We'll find out after the break.